Hi, so Albina here. I am the owner of Mind Be Well, where we do online counseling and coaching. And the focus and priority for me is always just, giving you the information that you need to prioritize your mental health and self-care. So today we are talking about letting go of control. All right, so letting go. Before we get into what this looks like and how to let go of the control you feel you need to have, I think one, we need to define what control is, and that is the power to influence or direct people's behavior or the course of events. I think what's missing is that this control you may feel you need to have over others is unsolicited. At times, people want to have their own control over their lives. They want to make their own decisions. They need to learn to make their own mistakes to come to the outcome that maybe you've already come to in living the life that you have lived. The control you need to have at all times, deep down, may feel like you usually know the best decision, and others need to know that. I think you need to, be able to give people that leeway to, come to their own conclusions at times and just kind of create their own paths with certain things. But also I think it's just, there's a deep-rooted issue, I think, when that need for control always needs to be present. And so hopefully I can help with kind of managing that today. All right, so now, that feeling of needing to be in control at all times can stem from some underlying issues or reasons. There's that fear that someone could take advantage of you. There is that fear you could lose control, and so your guard is always up. There's also feelings of anxiety. When you're feeling anxiety symptoms, it usually feels like you're out of control. And so feeling that need to, get control is usually the focus. And so not wanting to have to experience that feeling, you make sure that you put your foot down on situations so those anxiety symptoms aren't creeping in. And what if you did allow those anxiety symptoms to just come on in? You can control the choice that you make and how you calm yourself down. And now that is a healthy alternative in how you use your control powers. So also, the need to control can be associated with a traumatic experience in your past where you weren't given control over certain aspects of your life. And so as you have gotten older, that need is always there to not feel those feelings that you have experienced. And this seems like the best way to, make sure that you have that control that you need, because you don't want to be reminded of possibly, repressed feelings. Another thing is also lack of trust in others and the lack of self-esteem you may feel. So if you can't fully control you and your happiness, why not exert that control over others and the decisions you feel they need to make? Needing to be in control can look like, micromanaging. It can be giving advice when you're not really asked. It could be hard to admit when you're wrong. You may put a lot of time and energy in wanting to change others' minds in certain situations. You may want things to be perfect at all times. You may work very, very hard to make sure bad situations don't happen. And you may keep a watchful eye on certain experiences or situations or behaviors that you're used to doing, so that when someone is doing them, it gives you that opportunity to give direction and critique on how you would carry out said task. It's also making decisions for others without getting much of their input. I do have a nice video on some tips on how to listen more in conversations that could help with what you need to listen to in conversations to know if your advice is needed or not, and that is added here. Okay, so let's get into some ways on how to let go of the control you feel you need to have in just how you deal with life and the people around you. All right, so number one, it's being very aware of what that feeling feels like for you in needing to be in control of a specific situation in a specific moment. There is a feeling that you have, there is a physical reaction that shows up, and so being in tune with your body to know that when you get triggered, what does it look like? But I know you're like, Alvina, I'm not trying to do all of that. Give me the goods. That's where it starts. Your body is reacting, so recognize what that looks like. All right, so number two, start to let go in the smallest of situations. This could be a project you start at home and build up to things done outside. If you don't live alone, think about the rules that you have set in your head that you feel your family should follow, from the way certain things are cooked, or things need to be picked up immediately, or things needing to be organized in the way that you would do it. That means that you let go of needing to say and critique things at all times. That means you go and find other activities to keep your mind busy for those moments where you feel you need to exert some of your control powers. Now, if you live alone, the organization may be helpful for you. So maybe it may start with the activities you choose for yourself on a regular basis, and being able to not be so rigid in how you carry them out. Give yourself room to make adjustments, especially with what life can look like on some days. It's just learning to be okay that situations don't have to look exactly the same every day for you to get the outcome you want. A different exercise one day is fine. Eating a different meal is fine. Only being able to read 2 pages instead of your usual 10 at the end of the day is fine. The act of just being able to do a certain activity regardless of the time you get to spend on it is important. Give yourself a break, and yeah, give yourself a break. All right, so number 3, identify your fears. What are you afraid of happening? And if it did happen, why is it that you can't get through it? Do you feel that this says something about you as a person? If you can't control certain aspects of your interactions with others, get down into why you can't let go. What unfinished business from your past are you carrying around with you that you need to release? So this feeling of needing to be in control, rewind. So this feeling of needing to be in control loses its intensity. Now, this may bring up some feelings that you have pushed all the way down, but for you to learn what to do, you gotta start from the source. And this work may need help and guidance from a therapist like myself, or anybody that you're seeing locally, to really help guide you through this process and release this power you feel you need to have. For learn to relax. I mean, really learn that. This could be a helpful technique to utilize if you have forgotten that relaxation is needed, and can be a nice reminder for you in certain moments when you need to take a moment to breathe before you respond or act. Choose a few relaxation activities and allow them to show up in your daily or weekly routine. Lay down for a few minutes after you come home from work. Start a puzzle for an end of the day activity before bed. Play video games. Create room in your house for time for yourself to sit, read, lay your head back and just do nothing. Get a diffuser that you turn on in the morning. These moments of relaxation are nice. They help your mind and body be at ease, and they can be a nice reminder of what you may need instead of trying to focus on what you feel you should be doing. All right, so you have to start somewhere in letting go. And if you know this need to having to be in control is becoming problematic in your life, start to take control of this. Get it? Take control over your control. You can choose another way to handle the things that come your way, and you don't always have to be the one that does everything you can take a step back. I just want to say thank you again for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. And yeah, I will see you